Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. I did a pretty simple, clean and simple card this week with the new stamps that I just purchased from There She Goes Stamps. It's called Poppies, and I'm really happy with the quality of these stamps. They stamp pretty clear, like crisp. So anyway, I arranged all my stamps together on one big block so I wouldn't have to stamp them individually. And I'm using Neenah cardstock because I'm going to be using Copic markers and Memento Black Tuxedo ink. I'm just going to stamp it right there at the bottom. And then I still have a little gap there, so I'm going to take that little flower and I'm going to stamp it on the left side. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to color all these flowers with 3 different colors. And I'll have the numbers on my blog. But I slowed it down just a little bit here so you can see how I go in with the lightest color first, and I do the same technique pretty much on every single card when I use Copics. I do the lightest color on the whole thing, then that was the darkest color in the shadow area, then I go back in with medium, and then I blend it back in with that lightest color at the end. Now I'm going to do this for every single petal, and I'm going to do each petal one at a time. And I do that first of all because you don't want the markers to dry at all, so you want them to be still fairly wet so you can blend them. And so if you do one piece at a time, it doesn't dry up. And then also it makes it manageable and you can really focus on one petal at a time. So if I were to color the whole thing at once and then go back in and start working on the shadow areas, it'd be a little overwhelming. So this really makes it manageable, especially with these flowers, because it does get a little confusing on which petal is what. So anyway, so here I am still doing that same technique on every single petal, and those parts where it kind of rolls out, I just did those the lighter color and I didn't do any shading on that at all. Alright, this petal that I'm working on right now, it's actually on the underside of the petal. And so the shading is actually going to go at the bottom, which is kind of reverse from the other ones, but that's because I'm looking at the underneath part of the petal. And so, as you can see, if you do each one individually, you'll be able to really focus on where the shading should be on each one. And I'm just using a very light touch of the dark because I don't want it to be too much shading. It's a pretty small flower. Alright, next I'm going to take a colorless blender, which actually removes color. And I'm going to remove the color where the light hits it. So you can see where the petals are rolling out. That's where I'm going to remove color. And then when you think about it, a petal kind of comes up and then it goes around to make kind of a curve. And the light is going to hit right on the center of that curve. And that's why I'm removing color from the middle of the petals. And you want to do this slowly, so you'll work on it a little bit and then you'll see I paused for a second to see because the color will be pulled out over time. And you don't want to pull out too much color. Alright, I'm speeding this up a little bit. I'm going to show you one more flower here. Same technique, one petal at a time. All over light first, then dark, then medium. And see that part where it rolls, the petals roll, I'm just doing that in the light color. And this is another one of those petals that's on the opposite side, so you're looking at the bottom portion of the petal, and so you're going to shade it the opposite way. Now on some of them you'll notice that I actually colored the edge, the tips of the petal in the medium color. And that's to show that the petal is actually rounding around, and so as it rolls out on the edge, you're going to get a little bit of a darker area. See right there. Alright, now here I am going in with my colorless blender. Just got a little bit more dimension with how those petals roll. Now it does take some time to do all these flowers. There's quite a few flowers here, but it's very relaxing, I think, to color all these in. Anyway, so I'm just showing you 2 of them. And I just colored the middle parts in, just solid with one yellow color. For these buds, I used 3 shades of kind of yellowy green. The first was a yellow, light yellow, and then the darkest I put on the left side, and then the medium color, I blended that in, and then also did a little bit on the right side. And then all over light color for that top piece. The stems I originally did 2 different colors, but I found that they were just too small of an area, so I went back in and just used 1 color. Show you a couple of these leaves, same technique, all over light, then dark, then medium. All over light, and then dark in the shadow area, and then medium to blend it out. And these areas are so small you really don't want to blend too much, because then it's going to start to bleed out past the black. Alright, so I didn't get a whole lot of dimension in these stems here, so what I did was I took a garden green marker, which it's not going to blend at all, but the other stems, if you look, of this set have some black areas from the stamp that were sketched in, and these didn't have those, so I went ahead and drew them in so that they would be consistent and also get a little bit more dimension. Okay, and then I'm going to take this W1, which is kind of a lightish gray, warm tone. And I'm going to color around the edges just to get a little bit of a shadow there, and it kind of makes the petal or the flower pop a little bit off of this flat white page. On my first flower I did it all the way around it, but then with these subsequent flowers I just sort of did it on the left hand side, so it'd really be just one side where you would get the shadow. So as you can see, I'm doing the W1 and then I'm coming in with the 0 to blend it out so it doesn't look like this W1 line. So there I go with the colorless. And then colorless. There you go. And you just want to do a light touch of that colorless because you don't want to erase all that W1 you just put down. So it's just on the tip. Okay, now I'm setting up my Stamp-A-Majig for my sentiment, which I had wished I had done before I did all that coloring, because if you screw up your sentiment, then you just wasted all that time. But luckily it worked out for me. So I'm just going to adhere this to a piece of black paper, and you see that yellow butterfly up there in the corner. I videotaped creating that one. You can see I'm sort of debating it at this point, and I actually put it on there, and this was late at night when I did this video, and then the next morning I woke up and I thought it looked horrible, so I ripped it off, and you'll see, here I am. This is the next morning, so you can see the light is a little bit different because now I have sunlight. So I went back in and decided I just wanted some black butterflies. So I used my Beautiful Wings embosslet, so they're dry embossed butterflies, really pretty in different sizes, and I'm just going to use some glue dots to place them down. Now on the bigger ones you can just sort of use the butterfly onto the glue dot itself. The 2 small ones I just picked off the glue dot with my fingers and I rolled them between my fingers to make it small enough to fit under there. I couldn't decide on this one. Okay, there we go. Alright, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about coloring with Copics, you can email me. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.